Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Schneider. I am currently a student here at UTRGV. I am a freshman in my second semester, and I'm currently taking English 1302. Few things before I begin. My dog is back here. All my squishmallows are back there. And my chair is kind of squeaky, so if you hear that, sorry. Okay, now let me just, here we go. Okay. Where do here we go. Okay, so here's my question. Everything, well, basically an introduction slide. So I did this, well, I introduced myself already. I just wanted to get an introduction on myself. So I said my name is Ashley. I'm starting UTRGV. Whenever UTRGV went online, yes, I was still in high school. I believe it was in March of 2020. I was a part of the class of 2020, and I did not get an in-person graduation as some others were able to. And then during the fall semester, I started off strong. I was, excited to be in college, and I guess the experience was not how I thought it would be, so I just my mental health went bad down the drain. And I knew my sister was also in high school. She goes to STC. She was not having the best time. My cousin in high school was not having the best time. So whenever this project was presented to me, I knew automatically what I wanted my question to be. And that is, how has COVID-19 affected students? That was my original question. But I knew that was way too broad and I would have to narrow it down. So I decided on how has COVID-19 affected students at UTRGV? And I did research this question, and I found articles that explained students are being drained mentally, physically, and socially, and in many other ways. But this led me to my second question, which also has to do with my first question. How has COVID-19 affected students at UTRGV's mental health? So this is just my thought process on what I had to do, because there's different ways of interviewing, surveys, and the research process. And I had to think what I wanted to do, and I decided I was going to do a survey because I feel like a survey would be the best option rather than interviewing people, because I feel like I would get more information through a survey than having to do multiple interviews, which would take longer than it needed to. And you can't really watch people at UTRGV because I don't think that would be the best fit for me. So then I had to think which questions to ask, make sure they weren't biased, leading, or confusing in any way, because I wanted people to answer my survey how they felt it should be answered. I also didn't want to overdo the questions, so I decided I would do no more than 10. So here are my questions. I do have 8, I believe. Yes, 8 questions here. And I'm not going to go over them right now because as I go on, I'm going to show my results. And the questions are already on there. So here's my first question. I wanted to start with a few icebreakers, which is, this one question is, what was your classification, or what is your classification currently? Sorry. So as you can see, the majority, 48.7, were seniors, which is surprising to me considering the next question results, but it's okay. So 17.1 junior, 18.4 in graduate school, and graduated from fall 2020. So these are past students. And then you also have grad students and, yes, graduates. And then what was your classification when UTRGV went online? Junior? Well, I mean, it makes sense. Yes. Okay. So junior is 26.3. Oh, wait, no. I'm sorry. Junior is 36.8. Okay. And then your senior rate is 26.3. So the graduate, if you look, fall 2020, well, it's okay. And then, so the majority of students were a junior when UTRGV went online. I'm sorry, my dog's trying to get out now because someone's in the kitchen. And then this is where I had open-ended questions whenever I have responses like this, because I did have not open-ended, open response, sorry. I had questions that had options and then questions that had like a paragraph and stuff. So what was the most challenging part about online classes? And these are some of the common responses I got, because there were some that they said that weren't common, but I mean, they were valid to me, but I think it's more important to have the more common response, which is lack of concentration and motivation, having to self-teach, professors not responding promptly or at all, eyes being tired or sore from staring at a screen all day, and not being able to socialize. Which I can understand, because I, as a student, having to do this since, well, we all did basically, since March, April 2020, I can understand that. My lack of concentration and motivation is horrible. So having to self-teach, because there is, I believe it is asynchronous classes where you have no oh my goodness, Dixie, we have no meeting time. And then the other ones I can't really say much on, because this one is what is something you miss about being on campus. They're meeting people, face-to-face learning, having motivation, which was previously stated, library access, which by that they were meaning like hours and time you could spend at the library, and the fresh air of walking around to campus. And then this one I related to a lot, actually. It's being in high school since the pandemic started and not being able to experience college at all, which is unfortunate for some, but understandable, because I wouldn't want to go and risk bringing COVID to myself or my family just to have some college experience. And then these questions start to go into my second question that has to do with my main question, the how has COVID-19 affected your mental health, or how, yes. But at the same time, they still go with my first question. So I do have dedicated questions to my second questions, but these start to go into it, but not really. So do you think online learning is more stressful than in-person learning? And a majority of them, 81.6, said yes. And this starts to go into it more. Do you suffer from mental health issues? This one I can understand, I'm surprised by, but with the responses I got to my next questions, confused me, but it's okay. But as you can see, 56.6 said yes, I do suffer from mental health issues. And then this question had to do with this last question. So if so, the first box is check this if your mental health got worse. Check this if your mental health stayed the same. Check this if your mental health got better. And check this if you answered no to the above question. So this had 12 people that said they said no, which 76 responses and 43. I don't think 12% of 76 is 43. I mean, 12 responses. Yeah, 12 of 76, 43. So as you can see, the first one, check this if your mental health got worse. 39 out of 59 responses said their mental health got worse. 8 of them said their mental health stayed the same. And 1 out of the 59 said their mental health got better. And this question, these next two, I believe, were optional, but I was actually surprised by the amount of responses I got for it being an optional question. Dixie, get down. Overall thoughts about the pandemic we are in, which is anxiety and stress levels got Dixie. I'm sorry. Anxiety and stress levels got higher, which I guess can go along with the mental health because that does have to do with your mental. They wish things would go back to normal, which yeah, I'm pretty sure most people do, and wish people would wear masks. And yes, so that one was pretty popular too. Wish people were wearing masks, especially on campus, which I believe it is required to wear a mask on campus, but obviously off campus and other places, people are not going to wear masks because, as you may or may not know, Governor Abbott said you don't have to wear a mask basically, and places can open up to 100% capacity. So, yes, this one, this one actually made me think, and I was in awe with the answers I got. So this is how has COVID-19 affected you? Mental health got worse. Obviously, was one of the major ones that I got. Depression took over, which also has to do with mental health, but that was a big response too. People gaining weight, which I believe can be linked with the depression and mental health. Also having to stay home and not being able to go to campus and do as much. And never had mental health issues until the pandemic. Now that one was interesting to me because their mental health got worse. And yeah. So, and then death in families, which is hard with school because I know some professors, like if you have a death in the family, they're still going to want you to take that exam. They're still going to want you to do the homework on time, which is hard if you're suffering from mental health issues and you are mourning basically because you just had a death in the family because COVID, it's not the best. So dealing with family in school is hard. And this one I see a lot because if we use lockdown browser, obviously for exams, and they want you to be in the room alone, they want you to be like quiet around you, which if you live in a family where you can't have your own room, or there's always some type of noise going on, like you live with kids that are screaming and playing, I think that just is hard to do. And I think professors should be a little more understanding about that. Which obviously I'm not trying to blame this on professors, but I do believe that professors could be a little more understanding because, yes, I'm not going to say all professors are the same, but there are that bunch that you have. Like, there's always going to be a bunch of bad apples in the good batch. So, yeah. So this is my conclusion. A majority of students have been affected in their own way at least once during this pandemic. Many of us are going through the same things, but at the same time, but you'd never know it. Which that is really because mental health, weight gain, and dealing with family and school, it is hard. So I was reading like all the responses I got, and so many of them were the same. But I don't think we talk about it enough to know that we're all going through something. So I believe that my research agrees and backs up the information that I read in these articles talking about students are suffering in many, many, many ways. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Coming from one student's perspective, it can be super hard to deal with, which, I mean, it's unfortunate, but I mean, there's not much you can do because you want to get your degree and you want to get your life ready, you want to get your life going, which is understandable. And I do feel for some of these students because I know what they are going through. So that is my presentation for this Novaret project. Um, I'm so glad to be able to talk about something like this because it's amazing to think about, and I really enjoyed doing this research project because I learned so much about so many people that I would have never known. Obviously, it was an anonymous survey, but I was in awe with the answers. I was shocked by the responses I got. I I originally imagined like I was gonna get 10, 15 responses, but I believe overall uh, I got 79 responses from different people, and I'm just shocked by that. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Next time you see a student struggling, offer help, I guess. Thank you for everything you do, professors, and have a great one.